service provider, there are so many different ways you can package up your offer. You've probably heard of VIP days, monthly retainers, custom packages, consulting, the list goes on and on. But with so many options, how do you actually know what the best choice is for you, for your clients, and your season of life? Well, in this video, I'm going to go through different types of service models and look at the pros and cons so that you can make an informed choice about what you actually want your business offerings to look like. But before we dive into it, my name is Hannah. I am a business and system strategist for service providers, helping you go from stressed out to streamlined in your day-to-day business. I bring a new YouTube video every single week, so if you're a service provider and you want to learn how to streamline your business more, then hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new video. There are so many different types of services you can offer as a service provider, and I'm not going to get into all of them because this video would literally go forever, but I just want to highlight 5 of the main key offering or types of offerings I see within the business world at the moment, whether it's in my business, with friends' businesses, with clients, and just sort of talk through some of the pros and cons of each. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I find a lot of, business strategists, experts, marketers will tell you about a service offering and how that can skyrocket you to, 7 figures, multiple 6 figures, all the things. And what I have found is they don't actually look at that contextually. So yes, the service offering in itself may be great, but it may not actually suit you. So you've got to look at what offering is going to suit my personality and what I work best in, what environment and context I work best in. B, what suits my season of life, if you've got a young family or what that looks like. And the final thing is how it best suits your clients and what you're teaching or delivering, right? So for example, a website designer might have a different experience than a business coach because both of those offerings have very different deliverables, different client pain points, different client desires. So you've got to look at what best fits what they need. So as we dive into these 5 offerings, I'm going to just create a little bit of criteria to help us understand the pros and cons of each of these offerings. So the first criteria is income. The second criteria is time. The third criteria is marketing. Fourth criteria is client results. And the 5th criteria is scalability. So the first type of offering, let's start with VIP days. So the first kind of criteria as we're looking at auditing VIP days is income. So the pros to VIP days is, first, let's start with what VIP days are. That would help. So a VIP day is a 1-day offering where you complete the transformation within that day or complete the deliverables for that client within a day, right? And it's usually a 4-figure offering. So I see anywhere, around that $1,000 to $3,000 mark. Obviously, there is some at that higher end, like $9,000, $10,000, or some at the lower end, like, $500, $600, $700. But I find most should be within that $1 to $3K range, obviously depending on what your service actually is. So it's great for that in that it is a higher cash injection of like a 4-figure offer. So it's great for hitting 10K months. If you look at the math, you don't need a heap of clients to hit that income goal. So that is a pro. I also think it's a pro in that you can create that income amount, right? So let's say your VIP day offering is $2,000 and let's say you're a website designer. It's great in that you have that clear income amount for those ad hoc style clients that you don't really have a specific package for. Like let's say they want 3 social media templates and 2 YouTube channel banners. Like there are so many things that people could want as a website designer. So it's a great way to have those ad hoc things that you can put in for a day and complete the project. So it's great in that way, and I think it's helpful to have that as an offering if that's what suits you and your personality. The second area I want to look at is time. Now, there's a few aspects to time which I think VIP days offer great pros, but also great cons too. So the first thing in advantage of the time part is that it is done in a day. So what this means is there's less back and forth communication with clients. It's just very done. At the end of the day, you're finished and you can move on from that client. So it's great in that way. The second is it is great for clients. They are getting a clear deliverable within a day. For example, I recently hired a copywriter for a VIP day and she was able to help write my services page copy in one day. So it was amazing. I was able to get that deliverable and I loved it. So it's great on the client end. What I found a con to the time of VIP days as the actual service provider delivering the result is, yes, I had all the systems in place, but if a client doesn't hand in the homework properly, that stuffs up that day's agenda. Or it's very, in my opinion, quite high pressured in delivering that time. So for example, at the end of the day, I would feel exhausted of doing VIP days because I'd put my heart and soul, bed all of it into that client, but then I didn't even think about anything else. I didn't feel like looking at my own emails in my inbox. So there's some things where, in my opinion, it was a con, and that is why I actually stopped doing VIP days, because I found them too high pressured for how I like to work within my personality and delivering client results. So that was a big piece that you've got to consider within VIP days as to whether it's a good fit for you or not. The third area to look at in our criteria is marketing. So VIP days is easy to market in terms of the benefits to it, right? Like it's a one and done situation for clients. They don't have to wait long, they get that result. So it's great in that way. But then the con to marketing is it's not a recurring client. So I found it was very hard to market consistently with VIP days, or should I say book consistently with VIP days, because I was marketing, but sometimes I felt like I was marketing from a place of desperation because I didn't have that predictable income every single month. It was based on how well I marketed my VIP day that month. So that is what I found to be a con of VIP days, is that I didn't love how there was no predictability in the income. Like, yes, I could only have to work 4 days a week if it was those 4 clients, but I was then having to do way more marketing around that. So yes, there was less time in the deliverables, but there was more time in marketing, and the marketing was harder to find that consistent clients. The fourth area is client results. So as I said before, it's great for client results. They get a very clear deliverable depending on how good your systems are and what that deliverable actually is. So for example, I used to have a VIP day that helped people create their schedule, right? So we'd look at all of the different tasks they're doing, audit that together on a call, and then we'd create a calendar and I'd create some systems for them within that day. So yes, it was great in that they got that, right? They could test it. But then what I found was there was then no follow-up and follow-through. So I didn't think they got as good results as my 30-day coaching experiences because there wasn't any, accountability and check-in and tweaking. And yes, I could have had another option of a VIP day, but that's just something you've got to keep in mind, that there's no, follow-through. So depending on what you're teaching, you've got to look at, do you want to add in an upsell or something to your VIP day to make it that full client result and experience? And then the fourth area of criteria is scalability. So I do think that VIP days are great for scalability in terms of they don't take a huge amount of time, right? So that's the benefit, is that they're scalable with time. The downside though is that because they're one day very, you've got to get that result in the day, I find that you've got to make sure, it's harder to scale it with a team. Yes, you can, but you've got to make sure that team member is on board for that day as well. And, there's a lot more logistics around VIP days than I think people give it credit for. Like VIP days, in my opinion, need to have the most the best systems and the best logistics behind that offer in order to see them A, scale, and B, be effective and fun to do in your business. So that's my take on the pros and cons of VIP days. I would love for you to let me know in the comments below if you offer a VIP day, and if there were any pros or cons that I missed, because I would love to hear them from you. Next package is custom done for you packages. So these are more those higher level, higher tier packages. For example, let's say you're a website designer, it might be that 8-week full website build. Or maybe you are a copywriter and you write everyone, like the whole copy in a week. That would be a custom done for you package. Another example may be, let's say you're a Dubsado specialist or a system specialist or a project management specialist, and you set that up, their entire system up. That would be a custom done for you package because you're doing all the work and it's not within a day. So that's kind of the difference between the done for you and the VIP days, is that done for you will have a longer timeline to it. So let's dive into the pros and cons. So the first area that we're looking at again is income. These are great for income in terms of they are a higher ticket offer, right? They usually cost more for someone to do it. Or they are, like, let's say you're a Pinterest manager and you have a custom done for you, you set up your Pinterest, like it's good revenue in that you may charge $500 to $1,000 for that, and it's a good cash injection. So great for that. The downside to the income, similar to VIP days, is that it's not consistent income. So these done for you packages usually are more one-off projects that you've got to look at. Then the second area is time. Now, there's kind of two sides to time, right? As we kind of spoke about in the VIP day part, the good part of done for you packages is you have a little bit more breathing room than VIP days. So it's great in that, you know, you have time to dive deeper into the client and what they're wanting, and you know, maybe it's within their audience or whatever contextually makes sense for your offer. You have more time and breathing space to do that. The downside is that usually if it's a longer timeline, there's obviously more back and forth with a client, and it's not like you've finished, right? It's kind of in the back of your mind on your to-do list constantly. So you do have to look at time-wise what is a better fit for you. Now you can have a combo of both. Like let's say VIP days are too high pressured and too much of a, you know, succinct timeline. Well, you could do like a 3-day or a 1-week sort of custom done for you package, and maybe that's what suits you best in this phase of life in this season, right? So that's something to look at. Then the third area is marketing. This is very similar to VIP days. I think that it's great in that it's very clear results, and you can market the very huge transformations that clients would have. But the downside is that you've got to constantly market those results, and you've got to constantly market your package in order to create that consistent income. Then the fourth area is client results. As I said, I think that custom done for you packages somewhat often provides the best form of results because they are at that higher level. They are diving in more to something. So they are great for giving client results because you have time and space to really dive in. You have great systems in place to manage, you know, expectations and understand the homework and do all of those things. So I think it's great for client results. And the last part is scalability. So I do think this is a very scalable offer, especially if you have very clear systems in place, right? The downside to the scalability is that kind of alongside the marketing is that it's not the consistent client each month. So yes, you may be in popular demand as a service provider, and then in that way it would be very scalable. But I find people with custom done for you work, they do struggle to hire because there is inconsistency in the client deliverable. Like when that client's booking in, it changes week to week and etc. So you've kind of got to look at the scalability of that within the context. The third type of service is consulting. So this works really well if you are a business coach or you have, you know, a higher level of expertise that someone wants to pay for consulting on, or, you know, strategy or audits rather than done for you. So let's dive into the different areas to actually analyze consulting. So the first thing is income. Great for income. As all of the other options, there's so much scope for what you can price it as, and you can price it as something that feels good for you. So I think consulting is great for income. The second area is time. So it is good on time in terms of, usually it's like a 1 hour consult, or a 20-minute Loom video, or maybe it's a day of consulting or a week of consulting, maybe it's 30 days of consulting. So I think consulting has a pro in that it's very custom to how you want to actually outwork it, whether it be on a Zoom call, whether it be through Voxer consulting. Like, there's so much wiggle room around consulting and this area of time that I think it's great for. The pro of consulting is usually it's at the same time, like with that client. So there's minimal back and forth and minimal kind of confusion over something, because you're not waiting for their homework, or you're not waiting for them to give something to you so that you can work. Like, really, it's more that conversational style. And of course, it's less on deliverables as well. Okay, the third area is marketing. Now, there's a few parts to marketing that I think are pros and cons with consulting. So the first thing is, usually I find that, people are looking for consulting, for coaching. So it's great in that way in marketing it. But I think it's sometimes harder to market consulting rather than like a VIP day or a done for you package, because it's more of that kind of one-off brainstorm rather than actual clear, tangible results. So sometimes it's hard to measure the success of your package. Now, of course, testimonials can do that and all the things, but it's just something to be aware of as you're looking at what you want the consulting to actually look like and include in terms of a tangible result. The other side to marketing is that, like all the other packages I've mentioned so far, is it's not fully recurring income. So you could, package a recurring consulting fee, like a monthly package, and you have a monthly coaching client, 100% you can do that. But most of the time I find they're more one-off consulting. And of course, then that means you don't have that reliability of income month after month. You've actually got to market it to see that income. So client results, I think within consulting, you can get great client results in terms of mind shifts and breakthroughs and clear strategy and great next steps. Obviously, you don't have the fullest client result in that you're not then actually outworking that. And a lot of the client result depends on the client. So, for example, if I'm consulting on someone about their schedule and we, come up with a great idea, but then they don't then outwork that and take it into action, well, they're not going to get the full extent of the results they could. So there's always that level of having to rely on the client rather than just being able to do it, get it done, and have them get that result. And the last area is scalability. So I think consulting probably is one of the least scalable offers. The reason for that is they're consulting with your expertise. So if you don't train someone up like in a particular method or a particular way of consulting, then it's hard to scale. So yes, you can scale a consulting business if you have a certain framework or something that would always be consulted on with clients. So it's harder to, it's possible to scale it, of course, but you've got to look at the framework in which you would scale it, right? Like, you can't really scale a 1 hour coaching call if it's just random thoughts. They're really just paying for your opinion and your advice and your expertise, unless you have a specific way of scaling something. So for example, I could scale my schedule coaching, right? Because it's a very particular method in which we go through with a client. So I could have someone take it over and do it for me. So you've kind of got to look at what you want to scale within consulting, or if you more just want it as an upsell or a downsell to another package that you have. The next type of package is mini offers. Now, I've put it in this category because there's a few things within mini offers, right? So what I mean by mini offers is they're more like the add-ons on the downsells, or those kind of experiences to something rather than a full extreme. So for example, it could be something like you have a website template shop and you have a service offering of the template customization. So, the template's there, they buy the template, but then you add in their colors and whatever. So it's not like a full done for you package. It's more just that sort of easier into what it looks like. So part of a transformation. So let's audit this one. So the first, income. I find these mini offers usually are at the lower end of pricing, right? So it's like you do need to book more of them to get to those higher, consistent months. So that's kind of the downside. And it's also, it's not predictable income in that it's usually one-off sort of offers, right? The other part is time. So I think mini offers are great on time. Of course, it depends what the actual downsell and upsell is, but most of the time it's pretty good on time. The next is marketing. So I do think mini offers are easy to market in that they usually are upsold or downsold depending on, like, let's say you're on a sales call and you're trying to, market your blog and Pinterest management package, but for whatever reason they can't afford it or they don't want it, well, you can downsell them to a Pinterest setup package and, you can easier get that yes for them. Or let's say they're really in on a package and you want to add on web, blog copy to that rather than just scheduling it out. So I do think these mini offers are pretty easy to market, but of course you've got to constantly market it or have that intake of leads to market too. The next is client results. I think mini offers are great for client results because they give them a quick, clear, succinct win. And rather than a longer period of time to do something or a more full transformation, it's great just as a quick win, as a quick option, and it's usually pretty quick for you to fulfill as well. And the final part is scalability. This is similar to all of the other offers. It can be scalable as long as you have a good system around it or a clear way of approaching something rather than it just relying on you. And the final type of service that I want to talk about is monthly retainers. Now, this offer I may have some bias around because this is the type of offer that I have scaled my business to. So I've tried all of the other offers I just mentioned, and I personally found this one to be the best fit for me. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because the pros and cons are going to be swayed by my opinion and what I have found helpful, but then you can see what my thought process is in terms of why this is the best offering for you so that it can help your choices as you're making what offering is best for you. Okay, so monthly retainers, first off, what actually are they? So monthly retainers is a recurring service that someone pays for. So usually it is like a 3-month period and then month to month after that. Sometimes it's just month to month. Sometimes you're locked in for 6 months or longer. So it does vary depending on the offering. But let's analyze it on our same criteria. So the first criteria is income. Now with income, it is great in terms of the predictability of income. Like all you've got to look at is, okay, I need 10 clients at X amount, and then as long as I have those 10 clients each month, I've hit that income goal. So it's very predictable in income. The downside is that usually it isn't a higher ticket offer. So usually you need more clients to hit that income goal. Like for example, most monthly retainers I see are around kind of 500 a month and beyond. So it's not like they're bad revenue. It's just that you've got to have a few of the recurring clients in order to hit a revenue goal that feels good for you. Now, looking at time, it usually is more time involved, especially if, let's say you want to go on a holiday or something like that. Well, you've got to make sure that your clients are going to be cared for, that the work is going to be done, right? So it's kind of the pros and cons. The pro is that it is it is predictable time in that you can schedule out, okay, on Tuesday, every week, I'm going to do this client task because I know I'm going to have this client every week. So it's great in terms of that and scheduling. I think it's awesome. But it's obviously then a consistent thing in your calendar that you've got to know and be aware of. Now, for me, that works great because I love that predictability and flexibility, right? Within my schedule, I can slightly move things around, but there is structure to it every single week. So that's why it really suited me in terms of time. And the other way it suited me was kind of what I was saying with VIP days. It was very high pressured. you know, and that constant, like, I've got to get all of this done in a day, whereas monthly retainers usually aren't as high pressured. There's that constant, as long as you have the good systems in place, you can easily repeat those results each week. Now, looking at our third criteria of marketing, I think monthly retainers are the best for this category. This is one of the main reasons I love them, because if you have a great service, you will get really good referrals from current clients, which means marketing is easier. And then as you're marketing, you're not coming from a place of desperation because you already have predictable income each month. You're more just coming from a place of trying to fill more client spots. So in that way, I think it's great. The fourth area is client results. Now, I do think that monthly retainers are great for client results because you are building that client relationship, right? So it is a month-to-month experience. You're looking at how you can tweak things, how can you adapt and customize for that client, moving on to make sure they feel happy about it, they feel good, and you can see the longevity of a client result, right? So it's ongoing. You can constantly improve and help get better results month after month after month. The downside is that some client results can't be within a monthly retainer offer. Like, for example, you create a website, well, you're not going to create a new website for that person every single month. So some services don't actually fit within this model, but you've got to look and think outside the box of how could I create a monthly retainer with what I'm good at? And as well, on the other side, what are they actually going to pay for? Because I find a lot of monthly retainers that don't work as well are usually things that they've created without doing market research. So you've got to look at what's on the market, what would someone pay for month after month after month as a service. Or even it might be quarter to quarter or year to year, like looking at that, you know, how often it occurs and all of that part as well. Now, the final aspect is scalability. So I do think monthly retainers are super scalable as long as they are relying on a service that can be scaled. So what I mean by that is if it's a monthly one-on-one call with you, well, you can't really scale that because they're paying for you and your experience. But if it was a monthly one-on-one call to work out like your content calendar, well, you can create a system around that to train someone up in knowing how to, you know, find all the information they need for a one-on-one consult for a content calendar. That was a lot of C's. That was a lot of alliteration. Content calendar, client, all the things. But you can kind of see what I'm saying there. You've got to look at what's actually scalable within the monthly retainer. But once you work that out, it's super scalable because it's predictable income each month, predictable tasks each month. So it's very easy to find a team or to tweak your pricing in order for that scalability to occur. And if you want to hear more about my journey of going from 3 to 27 clients in 6 months with a monthly retainer service, you can have a look at this video. I go through all of the steps I took and what was some of those keys in actually scaling a monthly retainer service. But I would love to know in the comments what service offering is going to best suit you in this season. After hearing all the pros and cons, which one are you most excited about fulfilling within your business?